Welcome back. Welcome back to the course. And welcome to week 8. And we're going to really embark on your work in the world, but outside of sales. And this week we're going to talk about marketing, or begin to talk about marketing. This is going to be several weeks long. And really I want to say, welcome back from talking about purpose. Purpose, by the way, is going to be ever evolving. It's going to be an ongoing evolution. So you might not be comfortable with the language that you had. That's fine. It's appropriate. In fact, in a year, even if you thought you had it perfectly nailed, it's going to be different. So exploring your purpose is going to be an ongoing evolution, as is really a lot of things in this course. So this week, we're going to embark in the whole conversation around marketing. And this is inside of course, reaching your ideal client. So what is marketing? Marketing at its core and at its best is about speaking directly and specifically to the person you're hoping to reach. The person whose life you're trying to improve and will improve. And marketing is about delivering communication and having it be received and heard, and then, of course, acted upon. And now that you have your offering designed, or you're at least in the design process around your extended offering, and you've begun to practice selling it using the Evolutionary sales system, now it's time to actually get you out there. And that means getting you some exposure. And there's going to be a few ways we do that. But in a grossly general term, we're talking about marketing. You'll be doing at least 3 things to acquire clients. You're going to be giving free talks and evening seminars or teleseminars. Although what I will strongly suggest is that teleseminars are not a great way unless your marketing list, your email marketing list is over, a few thousand people. Teleseminars is not an effective way to acquire clients. It's a great way to sell products, but we'll get to that. So we're going to be talking about giving free introductory talks. We're going to be talking about how to publish free, valuable content, which demonstrates your competence. And we're going to be talking about maximizing referral systems and network opportunities. In this section, we'll be covering several things: getting your website up and running or optimized, and teaching you the basics of how to utilize Twitter and Facebook for marketing, and also email marketing. We're going to talk about search engine optimization basics. From now on, it'll be called SEO, but search engine optimization basics. And how to structure, deliver, and market evening workshops or talks or teleseminars, and for the purpose of maximizing client acquisition opportunities. And also what to do and what not to do with marketing materials. And usually it's about what not to do. And I have tons of wonderful stories that we'll talk about with that. But for now, what you should do is you should make sure you don't spend any money. If you have already, that's fine. But if you haven't, don't spend any money on trifolds or flyers or advertising in print media or even business cards. And we'll talk about all of that. So this is really what the next section is about within the module about getting your work out in the world. Some pretty heavy stuff, some pretty heavy stuff. And this is what our next few weeks are going to entail. So let's get the heavy lifting out of the way first. And let's talk about your WordPress website. Now, why WordPress, first of all? A lot of people have asked me this, and few people disagree with me, but also some people point to the fact that I don't even use WordPress for my own websites for the most part. So let's talk about basic content management systems and which ones are out there and why I really urge you to use WordPress. So let's talk about the big three. The big three are Drupal, Joomla, and WordPress. Those are the most ubiquitous. They're the ones with great community support around them. They're all open source and free. And there's a few reasons, and there's benefits and drawbacks to each. But those are the big three. So they all have their qualities and drawbacks, as I said. What they have in common is that they're open source, they're free as platforms themselves, and they have an excellent open source community around each of them. So let's talk about WordPress. The reason I'm recommending WordPress for you is that it's the easiest to manage and administer, and it's incredibly search engine friendly pretty much out of the box. You need to make a few adjustments in your settings, but it's very simple, and I'll lead you through that step by step. And while you may end up moving to Drupal or Joomla in the future because they're simply more robust, especially if you produce more premium content or products in the future, the learning curve is far steeper and simply not worth it for you right now. Like any piece of software, what I'll do is I'll recommend to you that you learn the limitations of it before you switch. WordPress is just too darn simple, especially for those of you who may be confronted by technology. But also, WordPress has a much broader development community, and it's much more oriented towards ease of use and nimbleness than either Drupal or Joomla. So sit back, get a comfy chair or a cup of tea or coffee, and let me walk you through this step-by-step setting up your WordPress site. Your tutorial, the step-by-step tutorial, is in next week's lesson. But more importantly, we need to keep you on pace, and sometimes that means reminding you to do the do, as I like to say. So your task for this week is to listen to the Evolutionary Sales lesson again. It was a couple of weeks back. You want to listen to that. And if you haven't already gotten a practice partner, for the love of your practice, please get a practice partner. And also you need to make sure that you have the tools that we talked about before ready and really ready to go for next week's lesson. That's at least TweetDeck, an FTP application, and an updated browser that is not Internet Explorer. So we talked about Opera and Chrome and Firefox, and of course there's always Safari. But really you want to make sure you're not using Internet Explorer for lots of reasons. So with that, thank you again for allowing me to contribute to you. Next week's going to be really intense, where you're going to need at least 3 hours in front of the computer to simply go through it. At the same time, I want to remind you that even if you already have a great website, there might be a few plugins I mentioned or ways to think about WordPress that I mentioned that you haven't thought of or experienced before. So you're going to want to listen. But if you don't have a website, or if you're just building your website, you're really going to want to sit down and chat. Now, if you don't have a hosting service yet, some place to park your site, don't worry, I have a gift for you in the next lesson. So again, thank you for allowing me to contribute to you. And since it's been a while since I've said it, I'm Jason McClain, your host and your guide in the 21st century marketplace. And I look forward to next week.